Okay. So we left off yesterday. We're talking about the solutions. We were talking about like recycling and reusing stuff. Um, so um, talking about how uh, different things are recycled differently, and the difference between primary and secondary recycling. Okay. So another another part of sort of like the recycling reusing is something called repurposing. It's reusing an item, but for a different purpose than originally intended, such as wooden pallets, light bulb. I mean, you could do it with just about anything. So I have some examples here. So the first one, and you were talking about like with the mason jar. They actually have these. People make these um, light bulb terrariums, which is essentially where they take old light bulbs and they make little like terrarium habitats for like plants and stuff in them. They're really kind of cool. Like, so people will take old light bulbs, and they also uh, an underwater terrarium light bulb, aka an aquarium. Um, so yeah, it's just so they're just repurposing. It's kind of like a fun little way to upcycle is another term you see sometimes. Okay, you guys know the wooden pallets that like stuff ships on. So, um,
I have a little Pinterest board full of ideas.
yeah, people do really like creative stuff with this type of thing. So like, let me like some. So this is like a set of like lawn furniture with them. It's kind of cool. They let's see. Here's a bar, portable pallet bar, pretty cool. Um, so this is like a little. I don't even know. It's like a little, almost like a not a room, but like I mean, kind of like a
It
little
looks like a super
like a
out in the boonies sauna.
yeah yeah. A lot of people do stuff like this with them, like gardening type things, um, because you can like grow plants and it'll let water through and stuff like that. So different kind of planter boxes and stuff with pallets, because they kind of have natural rows in them too. So using them as kind of like planter boxes for gardening and stuff. But um, it's pretty cool. But again, so this is the idea of like upcycling or reusing stuff. And then here's so um, this is actually a really big thing with antiques and stuff is taking different types of furniture things and turning them into something else, like turning doors into cabinets or stuff. Like if you ever watch HGTV or anything like that, like they like those a lot of those shows do that kind of stuff where they'll turn something uh, into another piece of furniture um, or use so like this is like somebody using shutters as doors for a cabinet or something. They um, I watched this. I was watching this show on like HGTV or whatever, like one of those Reno shows or whatever. They took an old door and they used it as a front, like a front to this cabinet, and they cut the door in half. And so like you, it was almost like two um like front, like so you could open the top part or the bottom part depending on what you wanted, and then like it was just really cool. Like people do some really creative things um, with with furniture repurposing. Somebody took a looks like a dresser or something. 10 million tires. All right. I was looking for the dresser one. Okay. Their gallery. Okay. Yeah, like I'm open, whatever. Anyway, um, you guys get the idea. Oh, have you guys ever seen any of the? Let me see if I can Google this. Like, the
Oh,
Yeah, like people taking like old metal things like pipes and like stuff like that and making like art out of it or different like lamps and stuff. It's just so I mean, I don't know, it's like people are super creative, like um, using different metal pieces and bolts and screws and stuff to make I mean this I looked up art, so you're seeing like more artistic stuff, but I've seen people make like lamps out of like pipes and stuff like that, and it's just kind of cool. Like um, Jorge the praying mantis. So anyway,
I woke up and Jorge the Praying Mantis was in my backyard.
yeah, it'd be a little. So that's the repurposing part. Okay. Municipal recycling. So really quickly before we get to this, I want to um, see if I can pull this up if I remember what it was.
Caleb, do you work tonight? I don't. Although I have a meeting right at 4.
Okay. So most do you guys know what single stream recycling is?
No.
So single stream recycling is basically where you throw everything in one container and then they take it and recycle stuff as you go. Single stream is like where
Like where you throw cardboard boxes.
you put all the like so basically like this is single stream, like what we have here. So you put everything together. You don't have to separate anything out. You put it all together, and then the recycling people take it and then they separate it out or do whatever type of thing with it. So there, and I probably not going to be able to. Um, okay, so there, and I remember I don't remember what it was now, and I'm probably not going to be able to find it, but there was and a lot of places will have this, but there was a guy who like worked for a recycling recycling place and like put up an informational thing was talking about how people don't understand that like in terms of the recycling, like what stuff can be recycled and what can't. So like for example, you can recycle metals, but you can't recycle metal wire because metal hangers or any kind of like metal wire or whatever because apparently it tangles their machines. It'll get in the machine and it'll jam it up and tangle it. Um, you can recycle like cardboard, but you can't recycle cardboard that had like food in it. Like you can't recycle pizza boxes because the grease from the pizza it just soaks in the box and then actually it renders it unrecyclable. And the
Cereal box.
cereal boxes would be okay as long as they didn't have anything like absorbed into them, like grease or
Basically cardboard that didn't get anything absorbed.
like food wise or whatever. Yeah. And one of the interesting things that they said that I didn't realize until I kind of had read that article and like saw it or whatever, but was that if it's something that you're not sure, a lot of times it's better to not recycle it than to recycle it because not only can it like mess their machines up and stuff like that, but it also like if you throw a cardboard pizza box in that has grease and stuff in it, that can actually contaminate other recycling materials that would otherwise have been able to. Like it can actually contaminate others and then they have to like throw all of it out, like they can't recycle. So like if it's something that you're not sure about and you really don't know, like actually it's usually better to throw it away rather than throw it in recycling because you risk contaminating a bunch of other stuff that they then can't recycle and stuff. So which I didn't really realize. So and if you see like uh, so let's see what this is. Single stream. Um, so what items are accepted, kind of your basics. Oh, here, how to avoid single stream recycling contamination. Um, always recycle every empty metal can, plastic bottle, and jug. Place clean paper, newspaper in a paper bag before putting in the recycling bin. Um, only recycle clean, empty glass bottles and jars. Like you don't want to have like food particles and stuff still in them. Um, never put plastic bags or plastic wrap in the recycling bin. So that's like the t-shirt bags or any kind of like thin plastic wrap type stuff that can't be recycled with those.
Like gift wrap?
Um,
Saran wrap?
like yeah, like saran wrap or like any kind of like packaging wrap that like thin packaging wrap, plastic. Anything that's basically kind of like like the t-shirt grocery bags. Anything that like resembles kind of like that plastic wise. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Ziploc bags cannot be recycled in single stream.
Well, then what are we supposed to do with like the Walmart bags and stuff? 'Cause I heard it's not good to recycle or throw those away.
So those they can actually recycle them, but you have to recycle them at like you can literally take like those t-shirt bags and stuff back to Walmart.
They quit doing that.
They'll
My grandma tried to take their bags back, but they wouldn't.
really
Yeah, they wouldn't take them back for some
at
reason.
Walmart or
At Walmart.
I'll have to ask my brother. I know there's still places that will. Like I know Schnucks has those. I'll have to look. I don't know, but yeah, you have to do those like that type of plastic has to be recycled in a specific way. It can't be mixed with the other stuff. Um, uh, where to properly recycle items like that. So the funny thing, okay, so here's a funny thing. Batteries. I looked that up or whatever, and actually contacted somebody about something like that. Oh, I know what it was. It was Best Buy because Best Buy used to like they'll recycle a lot of electronics and stuff. They used to recycle batteries, and I called them about it, and they said that they don't recycle batteries anymore. That basically they tell you just to throw them in the trash. I'm like, okay. So, um, prescription medication bottles, shredded paper. I don't know what. I'm assuming that means prescription medication bottles with prescription still in them because I think the just bottle is just plastic. I don't know. I have to see.
Why not shredded paper?
Well, it has all your stuff in the front of it.
Well, I take that off. Yeah, I usually take that off. Um, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know why shredded paper.
Well, like paper mache.
Well,
Like,
no, it
You
says
put it in
like
a shredder.
like a
It
like
shreds the paper.
Yeah.
Oh, why wouldn't you be able to throw that?
I don't know.
Recycled in?
Yeah, something doesn't seem right about that.
I mean, unless like it's so.
It clogs their machine.
Here, let's see. Um,
Yeah, it came up.
Oh yeah.
Shredded paper. Nobody cares about the in Chicago.
yeah, let me-
Just in general.
huh.
It's not even recyclable.
It brings up a lot of stuff in Chicago.
Chicago, apparently known for mopsus and shredded paper products.
Just can't use shredded paper. Oh,
Looks like we're about to watch that YouTube video.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what it says.
it's gonna be at the 40 minutes.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh,
38 seconds. We can do that.
Am I supposed to get all the tips for shredded paper?
Hi, I'm Lizzie, back with another episode of Homewood Disposal's Recycling Tips. Today is all about shredded paper.
Yeah.
Shredded paper is not recyclable at the curb. Once it's combined with other materials, it can't be sorted out. So please throw your shredded paper in the garbage. If you have large quantities, many office supply stores and shredding companies will recycle it for you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon for another episode of Homewood Disposal's Recycling.
So it's not put it in a paper bag.
But it makes sense because
Mixed in with different.
yeah, like it's not so different. Yeah, different qualities of paper, or if it's or I'm guessing a lot of it probably people will also shred stuff that has like maybe like a plastic coating on it, or the little plastic windows in the envelopes or stuff. That's probably, my guess is that's probably why. So they probably don't take it at all, because if they get some of that in there, it probably just contaminates their whole batch.
No question though, when it says like stuff like that, it's like take it to like Staples or something, they'll recycle it for you. They got their like own recycling plant for that type of stuff, or like
I guess they would. I don't know if Staples takes it. Maybe they do. I don't.
well, because she said like office supply store.
No, I know. Yeah. Well, and like there's literally companies that like shred, like there's companies that will go places and shred like documents and stuff for, like, they bring their own, these big machines, and they shred stuff for like companies and stuff that needs like stuff shredded, like sensitive documents or whatever, and they'll take it. So like my guess is like those type of companies and stuff probably have some way to either, my guess is one of two things: they probably either burn it or recycle it. Would be one of the two ways to get rid of it. But that would be, you'd have to have like large quantities to make it worth it, I'm guessing. So that's interesting. No, I didn't know that. So, okay, but yeah, so that is, that is interesting with that, and the idea that like you do have to be careful about what you recycle. Okay. So municipal recycling. So they give us a list of like, what are some of the characteristics or the main characteristics of successful programs? So like they're talking about like basically like city or town type programs. Strong incentive to recycle. Pay as you throw charges for general trash and no charge for recycling. So I don't think many places out here have that. Sometimes in like the city, in like cities and suburbs, like they'll have that where you literally pay for your trash by the bag. Like that's how they charge you for your waste disposal is like per bag. So the more bags you use, the more it costs. So they're saying like
Just get a really big
if
bag.
if they give you the bags. So like if they have a program where you have to pay for trash like per bag, but anything you recycle is free, that's a big incentive for people to recycle stuff then, obviously. Recycling is not optional. That's kind of a tough one for the United States, but we are gonna watch a video in a place that did that. Basically, they mandated that everybody in their town, I think it was up somewhere over in Asia, I don't know if it was China or Japan, I can't remember, but I think it was Japan where they did that. It just became mandatory. Like you didn't have an option. You had to recycle. Residential recycling is curbside. In other words, make it convenient. That's one of the big things for people. Like if so how you're not supposed to dump like electronics in the trash, like TVs and other electronic stuff like that. You're supposed to like take them somewhere to recycle. So they passed law like that, right? Did I tell you this story already about in San? Okay. So they passed a law about electronic recycling and where you have, what you can and can't throw in the trash and like all that stuff, right? So this is probably several years ago now, but back in the day, we used to have TVs in the classroom like on carts. Like maybe you guys when you were young, you had those like TVs on carts with like VCRs and DVD players and stuff, right?
When the teacher reeled that in,
Yeah.
that was a good thing.
Yeah, right. So it but those like a lot of those TV, like we had some of those TVs here at the school, and they're the tube TV type or whatever, and you're not supposed to throw them away. Supposed to recycle them. So we had one in the science department, and there was a couple others, and I told people that I'd get rid of them, I'd recycle them. So I looked online or whatever, because it's a state law. So like you think they would provide you with recycling centers or what? Like 80% of their recycling places that they list as recycling places, anybody want to guess?
Don't take TV.
No, it's
Aren't in the state.
Goodwill. So they basically passed a law and then told everybody to take their trash to Goodwill. Like if I were at Goodwill, I'd be pissed. Like so like Goodwill or something. So like I was like looking for one, and they said that they had an electronics recycling here in Sandwich, and it was supposed to be like by the water tower, like over there. And No, it wasn't a Goodwill. But I went there, and apparently it's not like the way when I looked it up, it made it sound like it was like a permanent thing, like or whatever. And apparently it's like only certain days of the month or whatever. And because it's like basically like this, just like a concrete pad that's got a chain link fence around it. And I think people come like they come there and then people can drop stuff off. But right next to this thing where it's like it was closed or whatever is a light pole, and on the light pole it says no dumping electronics. Guess what was all around the base of the light pole? TVs. Yep. Yeah. It's like no dumping electronics. Electronics all around it. You know why? Because people are sick of like trying to figure it out. Like you make these laws and then you make it nearly impossible to find a place. I finally ended up Best Buy at that time was still accepting them to recycle. So I ended up having to like drive all the way to Best Buy like over in Oswego or whatever to recycle it. Because there was another place supposedly that did it in Plano, and I went over there and they're like, no, we don't do that. We're just like normal recycling. I'm like, okay, said you did, but so I ended up having to go all the way to Best Buy, and luckily they took them. But yeah, you like they pass a law, right? And even if people want to be good about it and want to follow the law and do the right thing, like it's super hard to find places. Like that's frustrating. Yeah, like that's super frustrating, right? So that goes into this thing here about the recycling needs to be convenient, or at least not be like super difficult, you know? Um, okay, drop off sites provided for bulky goods like sofas, appliances, things like that, so people can, drop it off. Um, Recycling goals are ambitious yet clear and feasible. So ambitious means like, just be like, okay, we're gonna recycle pop cans. Like it should be like a pretty big comprehensive plan, but it shouldn't be confusing or difficult. A concerted effort, that means like concerted means like sort of like a real genuine effort is made to involve local industries in recycling. Remember we talked about like commercial and industrial places like have a lot of waste material as well. So getting those involved in it is a big portion of that as well. And then seven, the municipality, town, whatever, employs an experienced recycling coordinator. Um, if a town or city really wants to do a recycling program, do it right, like they need somebody to coordinate it because there is a lot of, I mean, when you think about all the different things to recycle, and you've got stuff like, you've got some stuff that has to be sent to composting, some stuff that has to be recycled, some stuff that's recycled a certain way, like that's a big job to coordinate if you're doing it for a whole town or city or thing like that. And you really should have somebody to do that. So, yeah, again.
Doesn't Sandwich have like a recycling thing where you can just like drop like cans in and then
Oh, like something up by the
park.
yeah, like
By
they
the fire station.
fire station? Yeah.
where you can like put them in and you get paid for it or something. I think or yeah,
Throw it right in.
yeah.
I've seen it. I don't know if that's what it was.
It is, but it's not. I think if they want to keep it up, they've got to definitely update it because
It's like pretty old and it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't give you any money back up.
Yeah, I remember people saying that sometimes it would fill up too, and like they wouldn't they wouldn't empty it stuff like very often and like so. But yeah, you're right. They did have something like that. So benefits to recycling, pretty simple, like stuff we've already talked about. Reduce the amount of trash entering landfills, saves energy and resources. So for example, do you guys know why they'll pay for aluminum or like different metals and stuff?
Keep reusing.
And what about like the reuse of it? Like,
Isn't it like aluminum can be like endlessly reused?
yeah, it can be. And also, like, do you guys know how like when they get metals from nature, like how most of them come?
Or
Yeah. What's ore?
just it like rock and it combined, so they had so it's already in a refined state. So
Yeah. So like when you get so here aluminum ore. So yeah, so like this is how you would if you mined aluminum, this is what it would look like.
vein.
Yeah, like little bit. So they have to mine it out, then they get the ore, and then they have to basically refine and purify the ore out of it, or the metal out of it. I mean, it doesn't just come in like these giant chunks out of the ground, of like pure metal. You gotta refine and purify it and stuff. So that takes money. Whereas with the like metal, you can just melt them down and reuse it, and it's a lot cheaper to reuse the metal that's already been purified and stuff, even if you have to do it take like aluminum cans, for example. Like, you guys know aluminum cans have like a little liner on the inside, right? Like, or whatever. So yeah, you have to go through a little bit of processing or whatever to turn it back into aluminum that's, useful. But that's a lot cheaper than it is to like refine aluminum ore out of the ground. So that's why they pay for that kind of stuff. It's because it's actually cheaper if they get that material, it's actually cheaper for them to use it then. Copper is another one. They pay a lot of money for copper.
Yeah.
I
think it's at an all-time low right now.
They were, is it really?
Yeah, I think everything's low right now.
Except for lumber.
Except for lumber. Yeah.
For a while, copper was so high that job sites had to make sure that they locked down the job site after the plumbing and stuff went in, because if they didn't, looters would come in and cut the pipes out of the building or whatever to take and recycle, because it was because they could get so much money from recycling copper. Yeah.
Well, that's what it was. Like,
Small price to
I
pay
forgot
for
when it was like I don't know if I think it was way back.
Yeah.
And that's when like scrap prices went freaking out of the roof. People were like stealing junk cars out of like lots and stuff.
Yep.
To like go like scrap them off.
Yeah.
To make money. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. People would steal, depending on what the tools were. Some people were stealing like old tools and stuff from job sites and things to scrap. Yeah. We
That's one way to get people to recycle.
right. Well, I mean, in a way, it is kind of like if you get a lot of money for it, right?
It works.
I remember my sister-in-law's family, my brother's wife, their family had an old pool that they took down, and the pool had aluminum, it was like an above ground pool, and it was like aluminum was the whole thing or whatever, and they took that in to recycle, and they literally got like a couple $100, but because of the amount of aluminum that was in there. So I mean, that, like, you think about stuff like that, that's, that makes it worth it too for people to do that. So that's definite benefits. Reduces pollution from garbage. Criticisms of recycling: it can be a more expensive option than combustion. So some things can be expensive, and so like that's why plastics and stuff, they do plastic recycling, but like plastic recycling, they don't give any money for anything like that for two reasons. One, you can only recycle plastic a certain number of times. We talked about that, right? And then the second part of it is plastic is so cheap to produce that typically recycling and refining it usually costs more than it does just to make it brand new. So unfortunately, because what that leads to is plastic not being recycled and ending up in landfills in the ocean and stuff instead. So I thought you had your hand up. Okay. All right. So any other questions or comments on any of this? Alrighty. Let's see. I think